Good afternoon, everyone, and we welcome you to this webinar. Thanks a lot for taking out time and attending this session. And as our topic rightly says, we are here to tell you about how you can maximize your retail profit, the unseen ROI of your people counter, and how you will be able to utilize it to the maximum capacity. With me, I have two seasoned speakers from the retail industry. First is Mr. Biswajeet Ghoshal, and the other one is Rajul Tandon. Mr. Biswajeet is the VP Retail at Mufti, and Rajul is our is the founder and CEO of Enalytix. Now over to Rajul for the introductions, and he will take us through the presentation.
Well, thank you, Geeta. A very warm welcome to everybody who's joining here, and welcome, BG, and thank you for participating with me along with my co-pilot here.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Yes. What I promise all the attendees here is that at the end of this webinar, you would at least go back with a different perspective on how to make your people counter work for you to improve your profitability by converting everyday data into everyday impact. So that's what you should be able to get out of this webinar today. A very different perspective of how to make people counter work for you to improve your profitability. Before I start, let me just, if possible, can get a quick sense of, like in the audience, that are you using a people counter today? So if in the chat, if you can just put like a yes or a no, that will just quickly help me understand sort of, like, are you using it today, or where are we in terms of, do you already have a people counter? Or do you know about people counters? So you can just type yes. If not, you can just type a no. And I hope everybody's able to access the chat. Okay, great. So some of you do, some of you know, but I do hope that everybody will find something useful which you can take out of this session today. Now, many retailers think that people counters are just to get the footfall number, which plugs into your sales system to derive conversions at the end of the month. Now, today, in today's digitized world and the kind of digitized data we have, that's not sustainable anymore. That is how the retail has worked till now. But we need to find different way of using people counters going forward. People counter needs to be imagined. It needs to be seen as a measure of opportunity and not only a measure of the conversion. From a tool for the HO, this footfall counter needs to become an assistive tool for the store staff, for the store staff to be able to identify the opportunities, be able to trigger actions on ground, rather than just being analyzed for conversions at the end of the month. In other words, it's time that we put life in the live people counter in the hands of the store manager. And I will talk about this more as we go along in the coming slides. So before we move further, people counting is a journey. It's not a snapshot, but it's a journey. And having worked with many leading retailers in India since last 5 years plus, I've come to realize that people counting is a journey, and you need to see where you are on this journey. The first phase of the journey is that you don't have a people counter. The second phase is that you have a people counter, but you're not trusting the data. So you're not trusting the data which the people counter is telling, and as a result, it's not being used by you. The next phase is that you're using it to derive a monthly or a daily conversion, but you are deriving it on the trip line count basis. Further in the journey, the phase is that you are using the conversion, and but you are taking a standard discounting factor to eliminate the staff. Next is that you're using the conversion, and but this time you're doing it basis the staff segregation, automated staff segregation. Now you're moving the conversion from from a monthly or a daily to an hourly based conversion, which is automated with automated staff segregation. And the last phase comes that it's actually giving you a real time counting insights in actual real time counting, where all the teams are using it to drive better sales. So if you look at it, there's a journey starting from not having the people counter to having the people counter, trusting the data, and then on two elements, two dimensions, either you taking a triplen counts and the frequency of conversion, which you are deciding. This journey is phased, in various parts. Now, obviously, there are various phases of this journey, and you could be in anywhere on this journey. We have helped about 30 plus retail brands traverse each of these phases. While there's no right, there's no wrong, but what's important is for you to know that how best you can leverage the footfall in whichever phase you are in. Uh, if I may ask BG to tell us that where does he think Mufti is today in this footfall journey?
Well, Rajul, when we adopted this tool, we were very clear that we're going to use it to the hilt. And starting from the implementation stage itself, we were sure that we would look at it as live as possible. We started getting data initially. We tested it. We figured out in few stores. But right now, the stage we are in, we are using it daily and multiple. In fact, the data that's coming to us is live, and many and many stores have started using it on a daily and on an hourly basis too. So it's a transition between a daily usage to an hourly usage in between that. So that's where we stand. But we're very sure that we're going to progress on this and take it, even more closer to reality.
Right, great, great. Thank you, BG. That was heartening to hear. So you are right now in somewhere between the monthly and the hourly, and then obviously, it only gets better from here on. The hard fact is that currently, about 80% of the brands in the market are towards the beginning of this journey. And even the larger brands, even the large format outlets, brands which are operating large format outlets, they're also towards the beginning of the journey, where they're looking at footfall as a mere data. And hence, the people counters which are thriving in the market, they are promising data, and they give data, and then they give more data, and then they give lies. And that is why these people counters which are thriving in the market are prevalent out there. Now, to me, most people counters are like a drunk fortune teller. They have got visions, but never show what they saw in reality. And I would say that you should ask yourself that, are you also one of those who are believing the drunk fortune teller, or are you not? Now, as we have realized that there is data and there's more data and then there are more lies, the biggest roadblock in using people counters is trust. Uh, and any data without trust means garbage. It means nothing. It is not used by all the stakeholders in the organization. And the bottom line is that everyone wants to look good, be it store staff, be it HO, be it marketing people, be it visual merchandisers, be it retail ops, store ops. Everyone wants to look good. And that's where the problem starts, because then they start to tweak the data um, in order to look good. And obviously, there's a perennial debate between an HO and store. HO wants high footfall, store wants less footfall. And everybody's tweaking the data and sort of playing the blame game. And that's where the trust is not there. And if you look at it, why is trust not there? Okay. So they are like two fundamental areas that why the trust is not built up when the data is put on the table. First is data accuracy. So there are multiple challenges in data accuracy. One being that staff is included. Uh, Other is that's not evidence-based. Some mysterious data comes on the table one fine morning. That Monday I come to know that Sunday I had a footfall of 2,000. Even the store staff is surprised. That sort of a thing. Especially on high footfall days, nobody is keeping tab, and everybody's sort of going with their gut sense. And if the gut sense is not making them look good, then it becomes mysterious data, and the blame game starts. Uh, Typically, it's the system which gets blamed. So you walk in with any insight to the store managers, the store manager comes back with blaming the system, that the system doesn't work well. Because when you and the store manager are meeting in a room, the easiest thing to blame is the system and throw the system out. So around data accuracy, there's a big lack of trust. The other element for not having trust is data completeness. There are two elements to data completeness. One is that the data is not available by EOD, uh, and the other is that data is not available for majority part of the month. So for example, if we have good quality data, but if it's only available for 10 days in a month, it doesn't work for me. Again, I will not get trust on that data which is there. Now, if we are saying that conversion should be a measure of opportunity and just not of conversion should be a measure of opportunity and not of sales. So we need to baseline it on direct data and not on derived data. By that, what I mean is, for example, group counts. Now, that is a derived data. If three people are coming in together, you assume they are the same group and not two different people. So that's a derived data. Other is that you're taking a standard discount of staffing, 10% off, 20% off the footfall which is reported. Again, that's a derived data. So net, we need to use more direct data to analyze and not just derived data. Now, to resolve this trust issue, okay, there's a lot of mistrust. Now, to resolve this trust issue, we need to make sure that everyone sees the same data with the same evidence at the same time, because because everybody's seeing the same dashboard, the same data, the same instance, the trust starts to build up. Every count which is reported is backed, is evidence backed, which cannot be refuted. The impurities in the data are limited, and they are clearly identifiable. If I know that there are two house cleaners in my footfall count, I know that there are only two footfall which has happened for the housekeeping staff and not more than that. That's what I mean by saying that the impurities are limited and clearly identified. And then the store gets real-time feedback. If SOPs are not being followed, which are impacting the walk-ins and conversions, then the store gets real-time feedback. If you're seeing too much of staff movement in and out of the store, then they get real-time feedback. And the stores will also be more receptive if all this feedback is backed by real evidence. So the idea is that let's not have a tug of war between the store staff and the HO staff, but let that be one team which is looking at the ground truth, the business scenarios, and then taking course corrections as we go along. So I have a very interesting story here, and a sort of a small anecdote. When I moved to US, we went to my wife wanted to learn how to drive. So we hired this American white guy to make us teach how to learn driving. The first question he asks, we sit in the car, he says, so you drive? And my wife said no. And I thought, hey, that's not going to go very well with these Goras. But to my surprise, he was very happy. He said, hey, that's great. I don't have to work on unlearning now. I only have to teach you how to drive. Now, trust me, that's the human psychology. Okay, we run with our notions, we run with our gut sense, and unlearning those mindsets, those blocks is the biggest thing which is out there as a human psychology. And this thing same is carried forward even for people counting industry and for people counters. So this story is about a brand, whose retail head thought that his store's footfall is 600. Now, why did he think so? There was a store next to their store. Whenever he would visit that store, his own store, he would see more people in the store next to his own store. And when he asked the next store's manager that what is your footfall, that guy said our footfall is about 800, 900, on a given weekday. So he felt that, hey, if this guy's footfall is 800, 900, I'm looking at a footfall of about 600 because typically I see lesser people in my store than I see in the next door store. Obviously, very conveniently, this got corroborated by the store managers. The store manager agreed to the retail head, and he said, "Yeah, our footfall is also 600." Now, when we put in our system, the footfall came out to be 2,000. Now, obviously, the ownership and the management of that brand goes haywire. That, hey, wait a minute, we feel 600, you saying 2,000. System was blamed, yes. But then, because we were evidence backed, we showed images, there were video audits done, and it was established that the footfall is actually 2,000. Now, if you look at it, that broke the roadblock of trust, and when that roadblock of mentality was broken, the trust started to come in with the life proofs. And then today, that brand uses this data 3 times a day, and everybody from top to the store staff is aligned, and they are kind of convinced that their true footfall is 2,000. So if you look at it, they were able to start trusting the data. And let me just ask BG that, if he can share their experience related to trusting on the footfall data as to how much, how's your experience in terms of trust the data?
I think I'll just step back and to the point of trust which we spoke about a couple of slides back. See, we operate roughly 450 stores across the country, and two-thirds of the stores are run by franchisees. So first and foremost, alignment becomes extremely important. The buy-in from every stakeholder is extremely critical. So it's not about pushing out a number and saying that, look, hi, let's do this conversion, let's do this number. So I think first and foremost, the understanding that trust has to be built, and everybody starts seeing the same number with the same process was very important for us. So in a classical case, a store manager takes a footfall that he believes is the footfall. If
Right,
he believes that today 20 people came, so number is 20, irrespective of number of people coming in groups or in singles, he
right,
is kind of looking at the conversation that he's holding. Somebody who's asking him or somebody he's asking. So that number obviously is much less than the footfall that you get, because a lot of customers don't even speak and they just walk out, maybe because you didn't attend to them, or you are busy enough to not to attend to them, or multiple reasons of not attending. So psychologically, number that gets fit into the guy's mind is X, wherein it could be 1.5x or 2x or maybe at times 3x also. So building up transparency in the system was the most critical thing for us, and that's what we did at the first instance itself. Buy-in that this number is right, this number is validated, this number is something which we all believe in, and it's data packed, it's proof packed. So let's not worry about how many, but let's look at the opportunity. Whatever number it is, there's headroom. Because of all of this, the trust got built, and initial, I think first 6 months to 9 months, maybe a year in many cases, where they still felt no, sir, the numbers are much lesser. So it took time. We are now in the third year, if Rajul, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, in most of the places,
yeah,
and we have been looking at this data very closely. And now I would hardly find franchises or managers blaming the number or saying a different number. Why? Because from the very instance they've started to buy into the concept or the number rather than saying mine versus yours. So that was a
right.
huge roadblock that we cleared at the first year itself. Now it's a smooth sail as far as the no assumption discussion is concerned.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, I mean, and I think the most insightful thing which comes out of this is that it almost took 2 years, to for 2 years for people to start, developing trust on the data. And it takes time. And, as I also said, unlearning is difficult, and people want to see the number which makes them look good. So it almost took 2 years for the organization to inbuild this culture within the entire, line of command and the entire set of people, that this number is right, and it's no more about mine versus yours. As I was saying, that there's a perennial debate between HO versus staff, but working as one team. So I think the key insight there is, BG, that it takes time. Even if you have accurate number out there, it takes time for people to change. But the good news is that they do change, and once they change, the culture sets in, and the organization can move towards scalability and higher profitability. And I think that's what the people counters can bring to the table.
Yeah, buy-in and enrollment.
Yeah, buy-in and enrollment. Yeah, very good perspective. Yes. Great. So, now since we have established that trust is important, we all have seen the example of how important the trust is. We need to look at what more people counter should be capable of showing, other than just the count. Uh, so people counting is not just, it should not just stop at giving you the right count. A number without the context is what we call noise. It should be able to give you more. It should be able to open up more windows of opportunity. Um, it should be able to tell you, for example, what's the bounce number of people who are leaving the store within 3 minutes, 4 minutes, they are bouncing off. How much dwell times are happening in the store. It's natural to believe that more the dwell, higher the ticket price, more they will pick up. We should be able to look at section-wise engagements. It should be able to give you, midday alerts, insights during as the day is going on. And likewise, opening more opportunities, for the store staff to do better. And all this should be happening, which is evidence based, not estimated. Because even if the first reason our store staff will find, which is say a wrong, and if the first reason they'll find to blame the system, they will blame it. Because as we already also saw in BG's story, that if they're not looking good, they blame the system. So if, let's say, the bounces increase, they'll first blame the system, then they will say, oh, I need to do something about it. So the idea is that everything should be evidence-based. It cannot be an estimated, because if you make it an estimated and if you not give accurate data, then all the equity you have gained and all the culture setting you have done in the organization for people to take that number as the number and then start working on the business scenarios, on the market realities, that will go away the moment you show any wrong data. So it should be all evidence-based, and it should open up more opportunities, window of opportunities. Now, the people counting, counter should work with you throughout the day, and guide the store manager and the teams to convert and give opportunities which are there at the door. And in order to do that, what we call smart alerts should be generated, which is the true spirit of assisting the store staff. So remember, we said that footfall should not be a tool with the HO to analyze at the end of the month and decide the variable components of the store staff. It should be a tool at the hands of the store managers to leverage the opportunities which are standing at the door, which are standing at the store, because every customer is an opportunity, to be able to convert them and to be able to get more out of every customer. Now, the alerts can be of two types: something which helps you increase the store top line, and the others which can help you decrease the operating cost. At the end of the day, if your top line goes up and your bottom line goes down, you have more profitability. And that is how you can leverage people counters for higher profitability. For example, one alert could be that, hey, let's get an alert. If more than 5 people leave my store, they bounce within an hour. Now, it could be that you have a new store staff standing. The store manager has trained them but he's not very well trained. He's not really performing and executing that well. So he's not engaging correctly with the people who are entering, the customers or shoppers who are entering the store. It could be as simple as that he's not wearing the right perfume today, so people are not liking to interact with him. It could be that the gondola or the entrance is too clustered and people are not, getting absorbed in the store environment, and hence they're leaving. So if you look at it, this one number can really speak so much and really can help the store manager a lot in terms of better executing and better leveraging the opportunity which is there at the store already standing. The next could be that, the alerts could be there for conversion rates achieved at 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 7 p.m. Now, this will help him to realize that I'm not meeting my conversions that well, and I need to do something about it. Now, it's better to give him an alert at 3 p.m. while the day is still open, while the store is still open, and there's still some part of the day left for him to leverage and to kind of do some course correction, then do it the next day. A group of 3 or more people have come in. So if you are a store which is catering to men, women, children, you have a higher ability to convert and sell a ticket, sell something more than what the customer is buying. Now, in retail, they kind of say that if a customer buys just that one item or just the items, if a customer buys only what they had thought of buying before walking to the store, then you've not done a good job. But if the customer buys more than what they had thought before walking inside the store, then the store has done a better job because they made the customer buy something more which customer had not thought of buying before walking into the store. So knowing that groups are coming in can help store manager to better execute that. And surge hours coming could be an alert. Now, there could be a new store manager. We talked about how store manager can leverage the staff, but it could be the reverse situation that the store manager is new. He doesn't have a history of how the store behaves. So the system can alert that, hey, the surge hour is coming. And that will tell about, the occupancy levels of the store. And you kind of know that, my store is going to get busy. And obviously, if occupancy level is low, then the store staff can be double used for housekeeping work, for cleaning the shelf, restocking. We have tons of those keeps happening. And if the occupancies are high, then it's all hands on deck, and everybody is trying to support no staff breaks being taken because the occupancy levels are high. Alerts can also be given basis occupancy during EOSs. I mean, we all know that in India, we do get a lot of footfall. I mean, there are a lot of people who come in, but does that really convert into bills? Now, that is also a reflection of the occupancy levels. Alerts can also help store manager better manage that aspect. So if you look at it, these alerts are ultimately equipping the store staff with tools for enabling them to perform better. Let me ask BG to kind of take us through the case study of Mufti and help us understand that how have they benefited or have they used the system for them.
Sure. So, guys, I think it's important to understand that Mufti has been in business for the last 27 years and extremely strong in menswear fashion, carrying a sizable market share. But having said that, there always has been that urge to grow more, that urge to and growing like for like and also growing on an overall basis. So when we created a 5-year plan in 2020, then it was very clear that among the three variables or the three key KPIs of a store, which is the UPT, ASP, and conversion, our UPTs were kind of good compared to other menswear brands. ASPs were obviously dependent on the kind of product pricing that you have and other things related to ASPs. But conversions was very clear that there's an opportunity, and obviously we didn't have a right number saying that look, this is my current bill, what it should be, because what it should be is defined by the number that the opportunity that we're losing. So we set a clear target that our bills have to grow, but we did not have a hang on the footfalls. So it was felt that we need to, at one point in time, evaluate opportunities to get the right sense of footfalls. And the challenge was obviously we didn't have anything that we could have said, look, here's an opportunity or here is a headroom, because every time you go to a store, the same nuance that we don't have enough footfalls for us to make bills. So that's a standard. Even today, if you ask the first three reasons of why business did not happen, first thing would be footfall, second thing would be stock, and third thing would be something else. So footfall still is an important aspect which is in the minds of the team, store team I'm talking about. So we had to break that. So we said, as I said earlier, also whatever number the store was getting was a footfall, but that's not true. Yeah, I mean, obviously, store manager or store staff can't stand and count how many people are coming because he got to service them. So we did not have any clear strategy or a plan. How do we increase conversion? We all knew that there's an opportunity, and but where does opportunity strike? How do we make it work? Is something which was in our minds, and we evaluated a lot of opportunities and said, let's look at something which is important, which is live, which is backed up with evidence, which is backed up with additional tools to influence numbers. Let's look at all of that, and that's when we started evaluating options. So, so that was a challenge that we had, and we figured out that the solution has to be integrated and live. So that's when we met Enalytix, and what is that they delivered is clearly, as Rajul himself spoke about. A very important thing is that it's not only a number that they are delivering; they are also delivering the the picture shots of the people who are coming in. So exactly that how many people are coming in at what time. Even I think gender is also kind of visible and possible for us to get. For us, obviously, I mean, it is not an important thing because we are a menswear brand. So evidence-based footfall is something which they started giving us, and it was clear that if they are talking 150, there are 150. If there are 25 ins and out of the staff, there is 25 ins and out. If there are four times the chai walas come, there are four times the chai walas there. So the exact evidence-based footfall counts was visible to us, and it took actually no time, and we rolled out very quickly. I think in a record time of 3 to 4 months, we had 200 plus stores live. Um, Now going forward, as you're aware, I mean it's been there the third year. Now we are able to compare first to second, second to third, all stores how they are progressing in terms of footfalls, and we are able to kind of compare basis the data, historic data and the current data. And so it cuts, so basically various slices are possible across malls, across high streets, across seasonal variations, large size stores, small size stores, large facade, small facade. So multiple combination of data was something which was possible for us. And then the next step was obviously to integrate this entire information into live sales data. We have a kind of a dashboard which is visible to every store on their system, which they can see live what exactly is happening in the store compared to previous day, compared to previous month, compared to previous year. And this is not a DSR I'm talking about, this is a live integrated data, sales data which is happening. So the person knows today now how many bills is made, how many bills did he make yesterday, what is the footfall today at 5 o'clock, what is the footfall there at 5 o'clock yesterday, what was there in the last weekday and the last weekend. So multiple of those data points are available, and hence that is helping the team to kind of get a hang on the real-time conversions. So the impact as is most important is confidence or buy-in or understanding that there is an opportunity. There is a headroom. See, most importantly, we never went and chased a number of conversion. Oh, hey, you need to do 15% conversion, or you need to do 20% conversion. For us, every footfall is footfall. We have not segregated employees, chaiwalas, bankwalas, every. So we have a gross number we always work upon. And a conversion is based on that. And what we're looking at is a growth on conversion rather than chasing a particular number in the store. That has helped people to understand that, look, we are talking growth. We're not talking a number. You have to do 20%. So nobody's chasing a number that way, but everybody's chasing a growth. And as you know, that 1% change in conversion roughly leads to 8 to 10% increase in business. So that 1 percentage points that 5% to a 6, or a 6 to a 7, or 8 to a 9 makes that 8% to 10% difference. That is some understanding that people had got, and it really started helping in increasing conversions. And I think we've quickly rolled it out very, very fast. Not only did it help in conversion of the footfall coming in, it also gave us a very important opportunity or a tool telling me if my footfall is going down in a particular store over a previous week or previous month or whatever, like slices we use. We knew that, look, there is a drop in footfall, and that's evident. So that is a tool that we use then to do a structured telecalling in the stores. And we have an internal coinage which we said call Gumao customer bulao. And it is a clear trigger that if the footfall has really fallen down in a weekday, what kind of calling you need to make. There's a weekend customer, what kind of calling do you need to make. So there's scripts for various this thing, and it helps us. So not only figuring out the conversion number or the bills per se, it also helps us to get the next customer and when. So that's an additional impact of having the right data at the right time. Yeah, that's
Great.
how we have.
Yeah. No, great. I mean, call Ghumao customer bulao. I mean, that's obviously very catchy also. And what it does is, interestingly, that if footfall is less, then you're given a kind of a call to action to the store to Ghumao the call and customer bulao.